there comes a moment in every life when the excuses stop working, a moment when you realize that waiting has cost you more than failing ever could. Waiting for someone to understand you, waiting for someone to support you, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right person to show up and change everything. Here is the truth that may sting at first, but will set you free forever. No one is coming to save you, and that is not a punishment. It is your greatest power. From the very beginning, you were given something priceless, the ability to choose, not your circumstances, not your past, but your response, your direction, your growth. Life does not improve because someone feels sorry for you. Life improves when you decide that your story will not end where your pain began. Many people stay stuck because they are hoping for permission. Permission to be great. Permission to be confident. Permission to start over. But the world does not hand out permission slips for purpose. You give that permission to yourself. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Everything shifts. You may have been hurt. You may have been disappointed. You may have been told you are not enough. But listen closely. What happened to you does not get to decide who you become. Your past can explain you, but it does not have the right to define you. When you take responsibility for your life, something incredible happens. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the author of your future. Responsibility is not blame. Responsibility is power. It is the moment you say, this is my life and I will not waste it waiting. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable, but so is regret, and regret lasts far longer than effort ever will. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing to show up when motivation is gone, willing to choose yourself even when no one is clapping, willing to do the work in private so one day your results speak in public. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you from the life you secretly know you are capable of changing. Because the most important realization you will ever have is this: you are the help you've been waiting for. Start now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now, your life is calling and it's time you finally answer. There is a powerful turning point in every human life, a moment when you finally realize that waiting has done nothing but delay your destiny. Radical self-responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. It is about recognizing that you are the only person who can change what happens next. Until you accept this truth, life feels like something that happens to you. The moment you accept it, life becomes something that happens because of you. Many people unknowingly give away their power by waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for support, waiting for the right time. But life does not reward waiting, it rewards movement. Radical self-responsibility begins when you stop asking, who will help me? And start asking, what can I do today with what I have where I am? That question alone shifts you from helplessness to strength. Taking responsibility does not mean you caused every pain in your life. Some wounds were given to you without your consent. Some losses were unfair. Some experiences were deeply painful. But healing does not begin with denial. It begins with ownership. Ownership of your reactions, your habits, your mindset, your choices. You may not be responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for what you allow to control you. Radical self-responsibility requires honesty. Honest conversations with yourself about where you are settling, where you are avoiding growth, where you are choosing comfort over progress. It asks you to look in the mirror and say, I can do better, and I will, not because you hate yourself, but because you respect yourself too much to stay stuck. When you fully accept responsibility, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, I can't because of my past, and start saying, I will because of my future. You stop blaming people, circumstances, luck, or timing, and you begin focusing on action. Even small actions matter. One disciplined decision repeated daily can change the direction of an entire life. This mindset is not easy, but is freeing. There is relief in knowing that you don't need permission to change. You don't need validation to grow. You don't need approval to start over. Everything you are waiting for already exists within you in the form of courage, choice, and commitment. Radical self-responsibility also teaches accountability. It reminds you that your habits shape your results, your thoughts shape your reality, and your consistency shapes your future. When you stop outsourcing your happiness and success to others, you reclaim your independence. You no longer live reactively, you live intentionally. Most importantly, this principle gives you hope grounded in action, not fantasy. Hope that is built on effort, not wishing. Hope that grows stronger every time you keep a promise to yourself. Because confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build by doing hard things, even when no one is watching. The moment you embrace radical self-responsibility, your life does not instantly become easy, but it becomes yours. And that ownership is the foundation of real change, lasting growth, and a future you can be proud of. There is a quiet strength inside every human being, a power so often overlooked because it does not arrive loudly or dramatically. It does not announce itself with applause or approval. It waits patiently beneath fear, beneath doubt, beneath the stories you have been told about who you are and what you can do. Awakening to your personal power begins the moment you realize that you have never been empty, broken, or incapable. You have only been disconnected from yourself. Most people believe power comes from outside, from money, status, relationships, or recognition. They believe that once something external changes, they will finally feel confident, worthy, or strong. But personal power does not arrive with circumstances. It emerges through awareness. The awareness that your thoughts shape your emotions influence your actions, and your actions create your results. When you awaken to your power, you stop underestimating yourself. You understand that the same mind that creates fear can create faith. The same voice that tells you why something won't work can be trained to ask, what had if it does? Power is not about control over others. It is about mastery over yourself. It is about choosing growth over fear, clarity over chaos, and purpose over distraction. Many people remain unaware of their power because they are constantly seeking validation. They look outside themselves for proof that they are enough. But the truth is, no amount of praise can fill the space created by self-doubt. True confidence is built when you trust your inner voice more than the opinions around you. That trust grows every time you act in alignment with your values, even when it is uncomfortable. Awakening to your power also means understanding that discipline is a form of self-respect. When you show up for yourself consistently, you send a message to your subconscious that you matter. Power is built in daily routines, in small promises kept, in choices made when no one is watching. It is not dramatic, but it is transformative. This awakening requires unlearning. Unlearning the belief that you must be perfect to begin. Unlearning the idea that fear is a sign to stop. Fear is not a warning. It is often a signal that you are standing at the edge of growth. When you learn to move forward despite fear, you reclaim a part of yourself that may have been silent for years. Your personal power becomes undeniable when you stop asking for permission. Permission to dream bigger, permission to say no, permission to walk away from what no longer serves you. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are those who choose themselves repeatedly, even in the midst of uncertainty. When you awaken to this power, your life becomes intentional. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop reacting and start responding. You understand that setbacks are not evidence of failure, but invitations to rise stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. The moment you recognize that everything you need to change your life already exists within you stop waiting for rescue. You realize that the strength you admire in others is also available to you. And from that moment on, you no longer move through life as a passenger. You step into the role of the driver, guiding your journey with purpose, courage, and unwavering belief in yourself. One of the most invisible prisons a person can live in is the victim mindset. It does not always look like weakness or a complaint. Sometimes it looks like silence, avoidance, or constant self-doubt. It is the belief that life happens to you, not for you, and that your circumstances hold more power than your choices. Breaking this mindset is not about denying pain. It is about refusing to let pain become your identity. Many people confuse acknowledging their struggles with being defined by them. Yes, you may have been hurt. Yes, life may have been unfair. Yes, you may have experienced loss, rejection, or betrayal. Those experiences are real and they matter. But when you repeatedly tell yourself the story of what happened without rewriting what happens next, you give the past permanent control over your future. The victim mindset keeps you focused on blame. It asks, why did this happen to me? Instead of, what can I do now? While blame may feel comforting in the moment, it slowly drains your power. It places your healing, your happiness, and your growth in the hands of others. And the truth is, no one else can live your life or fulfill your potential for you. Breaking free begins with awareness. Awareness of the language you use, the thoughts you repeat, and the patterns you accept. When you constantly say, I can't, I'm stuck, or this is just how my life is, you reinforce limitation. Words shape beliefs and beliefs shape behavior. The moment you change your inner dialogue, you begin changing your direction. Reclaiming control over your story means shifting from reaction to intention. Instead of allowing emotions to run your life, you learn to observe them, understand them, and choose how to respond. Strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to act with clarity even when emotions are intense. This process requires courage. Courage to stop using the past as a shield. Courage to take responsibility for your healing. Responsibility does not mean fault. It means freedom. It means acknowledging that while you did not choose every experience, you can choose how much power it has over you today. When you release the victim mindset, you stop waiting for apologies that may never come. You stop expecting closure from people who are incapable of giving it. Instead, you give yourself closure through growth, self-respect, and forward movement. You realize that your peace does not require anyone else's permission. Breaking this mindset also means embracing resilience. Resilience is built when you choose to rise instead of retreat, when setbacks no longer convince you to quit, but challenge you to adapt. Life will always present obstacles, but a resilient mind sees them as lessons, not life sentences. As you reclaim control, you begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who survived circumstances, but as someone who learned, evolved, and became stronger through them. Your identity shifts from wounded to wise, from broken to becoming. The moment you stop identifying as a victim, you start living as a creator of habits, boundaries, opportunities, and meaning. And in that shift, your story transforms from one of limitation to one of empowerment, proving that your past may be a chapter, but it will never be the conclusion. Growth begins where comfort ends. Yet so many people build their lives around avoiding discomfort, even when that comfort is slowly costing them their dreams. Choosing growth over comfort is not about living in constant struggle. It is about recognizing that everything meaningful in life requires effort, courage, and temporary unease. Comfort keeps you safe, but growth makes you free. Comfort often disguises itself as routine, doing what you have always done, thinking the same thoughts, staying in familiar environments, and tolerating situations that no longer align with who you are becoming. It feels easier to stay where you are than to risk the unknown. But what feels easy today can become heavy tomorrow. Stagnation does not announce itself loudly. It quietly steals your potential. When you choose growth, you choose discipline over convenience. You wake up even when motivation is low. You show up even when results are not immediate. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is the willingness to invest in the future version of yourself, even when the present version would rather stay comfortable. Growth also requires emotional bravery. It means having difficult conversations, setting boundaries, and sometimes walking away from people, habits, or environments that no longer serve you. Comfort will tell you to stay quiet, to avoid conflict, to keep the peace at the cost of your own well-being. Growth teaches you that inner peace is more important than external approval. Choosing growth over comfort means learning to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. Instead of distracting yourself, you reflect. Instead of quitting, you adjust. Instead of numbing pain, you transform it into wisdom. This process builds resilience, the kind that allows you to face life with confidence rather than fear. One of the greatest myths about growth is that it should feel good all the time. In reality, growth often feels lonely before it feels liberating. It may require you to outgrow familiar roles and expectations. Not everyone will understand your changes, and that is okay. Growth is not about being liked by everyone. It is about being honest with yourself. As you repeatedly choose growth, your self-trust deepens. You begin to believe in yourself not because life is easy, but because you have proven that you can handle difficulty. Every challenge you face and overcome becomes evidence of your strength. Confidence is built through action, not affirmation. Choosing growth also shifts your relationship with failure. Failure stops being something to fear and becomes something to learn from. Each setback teaches you more about yourself, your limits, and your potential. When you stop running from failure, you stop running from success. Ultimately, choosing growth over comfort is an act of self-love. It is saying, I believe my future is worth the effort. It is deciding not to shrink to fit the life you have outgrown. When you make this choice consistently, your life expands, new opportunities appear, new confidence emerges, and a deeper sense of purpose takes root. The courage to grow is the courage to become. And when you choose growth again and again, you don't just change your life, you honor it. The truth is simple, yet powerful. No one is coming to save you. Waiting for someone else to fix your life, to hand you opportunities, or to erase your struggles only keeps you stuck. The life you desire, the growth you crave, and the fulfillment you dream of all depend on one person, you. Taking radical self-responsibility, awakening to your personal power, breaking the victim mindset, and choosing growth over comfort are not just ideas, they are a blueprint for transformation. Each principle builds on the other, guiding you from a place of limitation to a place of strength, clarity, and freedom. When you accept responsibility for your choices, you reclaim control. When you recognize the power inside you, you stop waiting for permission. When you release the victim mindset, you step into courage. And when you prioritize growth over comfort, you create a life that is truly yours. This journey is not easy. It requires honesty, resilience, and relentless action. You will face fear, doubt, and setbacks along the way. But every challenge is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable, worthy, and ready for more. Waiting for someone to save you is a trap. Acting now is liberation. Your life is calling. It does not wait. It does not negotiate. And it does not apologize. The choice is yours to remain in comfort, watching opportunities pass by, or to step forward. Embrace your power and change your life right now. The moment to act is this moment. The responsibility is yours. The power is yours. And the life you've always imagined is waiting, if you are willing to claim it.